Happy Friday, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on October 25th, 2024, as you can see down below. We are just kind of casually running today. There's only a couple of little updates, but Brian and I are here to hang out with you at least for 15 minutes, maybe half an hour. We'll see what we can milk out of this. It's been kind of a crazy week for us again, but thank you for joining us for another live stream update. We're off to the races. So, we had some predictions that came true yesterday. I want to bring Brian in on this. Actually, I think it was yesterday that these predictions came true. Last week, we kind of did a special where we had some extra people in with us, which was very fun. Brian was with me as always. Well, not as always. Sometimes he's going to run the show, I think, on his own. I don't know if you're ready for that yet. I think he is. I think that everybody will have to buckle up for that one.
I guess someday I'll be referred to as a professional. So
yeah, no, you are. You're a consummate professional in my.
Hey, I told you about the constipation in private. That wasn't supposed to be on air.
Consummate. It's different. It's a different word.
Oh, well, there you go, opening up that thesaurus with those $7 words. Okay,
I know.
I'm still at the $5 below.
Words. I can't afford $7 words, even though they're on brand. So, but yeah, we are. We were having fun last week talking about gaming as a topic. We had some great guests. We had Aaron from the developer from for Rumbot, who's known on Rumble as Vapin Gamers, and we had Justin from Live Search app in with us as well. We had Whiskey Pete. Did we have Justin in with? Oh, Justin was afterwards, wasn't he?
Well, we started our normal update, and then it became, hey, let's go look back. Blast from the past. Look at the old things we've done, and connect the dots with what IvMuse software allows us to do. That was so much more difficult in times of the past. How it was a lot more hardware, but software as a service opened our eyes to it. So once we wrapped up our hour stream last week, we jumped on over to one of your U channels to go back into it. And it was a lot of fun, sort of like heat testing the system. We got to show behind the scenes, the software, and what we would do to allow ourselves to build the scenes, and sort of got a quick proof of concept run template, kind of looking through and seeing.
It was good. It was a good time, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more with that in the coming weeks. Obviously, the election has been taking up, I think, a lot of people's headspace on this stuff. I think today, Trump has been in Austin, Texas, not just for that one press conference that everybody saw, but for I believe he's there for Joe Rogan's studio, which is basically like. Shots fired. This is going to break the internet.
You got to play to your base, baby. You got to play to your base. And if you know the internet.
Well, I don't even know if that's fully it. I think that's really going to broaden it. I think because Rogan's been kind of on the edge of that. But it's been interesting to see so many things transpiring within the live streaming platform. I think I bring that up. I don't want to lose the plot on talking about the thing with. Pwnecast and Sneeko and stuff. I want to circle back to that in a little bit, but the fact that is happening right now, that Rogan is going to be interviewing a presidential candidate, and then that's bigger news than him being on like Fox, which he's on every other day, if not every day, right? I think that wasn't where we were 4 years ago. If we think about the cycle, and I think that says something about the industry that we're in. That's this industry.
Bernie Sanders was on Joe Rogan's podcast when he was going for the Democratic ticket before they eventually settled on Biden. I think a few of them also wanted to go the same route. I also saw vice presidential candidate Andrew Yang on Joe Rogan, sharing his ideas, sharing his
That's
thoughts, and
right.
so
That's right.
it's not out of the realm of possibility that he's been, trying to land these political fish on his show. But to schedule it this close to the election is, yeah, it's definitely going to be taking a lot of eyes and a lot of attention here in the lead up basically, as they say, polls are open, so people are already voting.
Right.
People are
Right.
out and doing it, and like I said, it's a bold move to kind of go there because I think it comes full circle to the way our society has turned I mean, it's easy enough to go back as far as Nixon when we first started to distrust our powers
Right.
that be. Then Reagan went ahead and ruined our future for all of us, deregulating and turning things into what they did. And here we are now in a post 9/11 post state where everybody's sort of in this place where they no longer trust even the main sources of media. So it was around the 20 teens that we started all looking for alternative sources of media. I think there's a reason why you get the Joe Rogans of the day really kind of taking over the modern day, and I think
Well,
it's
and
a
wouldn't you
testament to
say
the audience that no longer trusted mainstream media and wanted to hear alternative opinions from people that are more like them, people that might not necessarily have a dollar behind why they're talking to you about what they're talking to you about.
And wouldn't you have said that, like, in the past 4 years we've seen streaming really grow up from being the thing that everyone's like, well, you can't trust it if it's on the internet. You can't trust if it's in a podcast. You can't trust it if it's coming from us, from we the people, in some sense or fashion. If it's not coming with corporate dollars, that could be anybody. And
There was a
now
time where people believed that, but I think we've come full circle to
I
where
think we have.
I think we on the internet have proven ourselves more than likely. Anytime you hear one of those strange internet theories, no way that could be true. There's no way they're, taking people and weaponizing them against other people so that they can have blackmail and other stuff. And then Jeffrey Epstein hits and they're like, well, no, no,
Then Diddy hits.
then Diddy hits. And it's just like, the internet's been telling you this shit for
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
I'll never
Diddy wouldn't
forget
have
the
hit if it
way
wasn't for Epstein. Let's be honest.
I thought it was the wire where they said, when you follow the money far enough, you kind of go up too high, and then you got to stop following the money because then you're going to find yourself in trouble with the real powers that be. And sure enough, it kind of turns into that thing where yeah, the internet. We may sound like crazy people when we have our conspiracies, but more often than not, we've been proven right as time is done. Like I remember the Pentagon Papers when we posted those, and I was a part of that free media that was gathering this information and speed reading this and saying, okay, so that's how they do it. They hide all their money in these offshore accounts. They do all this and that. This is going to break television, and nobody cared.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
batted an eye. It's like, well, wait, so that whole thing that we've been saying is a conspiracy for generations, how they game the system is true, but we don't get credit for that one either. It's funny that I think more people are now finally coming around and saying, you know what, you guys have been right more than you've been wrong in a lot of cases. Sure, there may not be space lasers by certain races or
We're
people.
not flying. There's no flying cars.
Yes, but at the
But
same time, we're a little bit open minded, and we're the type of people who only believe what we can verify for ourselves, and sort of take everything out there in the market as sort of the fog of war, if you will, the ether of misinformation. And I think Trump
but
weaponized the
but
idea of misinformation
fourth estate
way
has
before.
fallen. I would say
Yeah.
for sure. Let's hide this. I want to bring up a couple of news stories that had come up that I thought we would kind of report on. We made some predictions last week when we were talking about gaming. Doctor Disrespect and Sneeko kind of like monopolized the conversation for a little bit,
Sure.
and that's not a horrible thing. But I tried to get everybody to take bets on how long it would take Sneeko to get kicked off of Kick. I think we got 3 days. I think we got 3 days out of it, which hopefully that becomes some bit of a street cred of sort. Let's see if I can pull this up here and make it look decent. I've been trying to finish up things here in the studio so that we are more ready to have guests actually in our location. But yeah, here's the story. It's not coming up really cleanly. There we go. There it is. Yeah. Trying to just figure out my share before I pop it in.
I was gonna say you haven't even put it on our stream yet. I'm looking for it here
No. I've been like trying to
as the
get
background
my
director.
browser to work correctly.
Okay.
It's just so many things happening here.
Well, meanwhile, my studio is locked and set. I was just able to upload the latest episode of Church of Cinema, so
I
we're
was
still
doing
making.
I was doing really well,
Uh,
and then I had to reboot my computer about 2 minutes before we went live.
that's
Well,
always the
about 5
case.
minutes.
I don't
That's
remember how
always
many times we used to make it a thing. We when we were first streaming HD. I remember there was always this internet problem where we would always have to restart everything right before we started, or
right.
you risk the whole system crashing before the end of the show. And I'm like, it's a 2-hour basketball game. Like, no, the system can't handle
you
it.
don't understand what we're dealing with here. I had to put new bubble gum on the switches.
Oh my
yesterday.
god, the pipe, man, the pipe! It just can't take it. Anyway, show me what you got. I can't wait to see. This was getting kicked off a kick, huh?
Sneako's banned on. It looks like on the 22nd, which was pretty darn quick. I don't know what you how many days was that since we what was last week's was the 18th, 19th, 21, 22? 3 days. 3 days would have been the proper bet, I think. So, yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't gamble that way, but
and it wasn't even a good bet. I mean, it wasn't even for a good reason, from what I can tell. I think it was something like someone popped into a live stream and might have been inappropriate. I think they were just looking for anything at the time.
yeah, if you look hard enough, you'll always find something.
Yep. And let's take this down, remove from scene. Yeah, I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm demonstrating why you should never drive and run your own show at the same time.
Well, it helped if we also had to run a show. We're kind of winging it today because
we are winging it today.
It was mostly just clean up the studio. Like I spent the whole week mostly in the field, taking pictures and performing at my own. What felt like the I don't want to use the word, but starts with a G, ends with a J, or two words, GJ, and just a very select group of people coming to give me a good pat on the shoulder and say, hey, this is kind of fun stuff you're doing. Anyways, I do my photography shit. I like taking pictures. Still pretty good at it.
Who was it that I think Chris Pavlovsky had predicted that Twitch would be shut down in 2 years as well, which I think is a pretty darn newsworthy bet. Speaking of taking bets, that's if you game plan that out. Where are we right now? Right. Well, what we're doing right now is actually preparing a place for them. I go away to prepare a place for you. Mm-hmm. That entire disaffected community. I mean, if they're really in that kind of situation, I did not read the full article. I kind of skimmed it. I think it had more to do within like what their financial picture looks like, which isn't great.
Well, if audiences can leave MySpace, they can leave any website.
No crap.
So,
do you remember how fast that happened too?
It did. It was overnight. It was as if it wasn't even there anymore. And the thing with Twitch, unlike the big juggernaut is YouTube, of course, Twitch for a while offered a great place, a great venue for people to get out there and stream. But the dirty secret of the internet is every website has a dollar or a cent per person that they get for you being on the stream. And so sure, we can try to sell merchandise for our shows, and sure, we can try to get brand deals, but in reality the website also has to earn off of you. So with Twitch having essentially an audience that doesn't have much purchasing power, therefore they can't be advertised to or have anything worth selling, especially the type of content that's being viewed there. People are just, putting it on and just having free social media live streams with people that they like, with stories or games that they like. And so I guess with that business model, somehow Twitch hasn't found a way to make it monetized in a way, the way Rumble's trying to offer. I guess that's what I've been picking up on, or Rumble's 2 cents, or at least the 2 cents they owe me, was that, hey, we're an open creator space that isn't necessarily going to make you think about um, what you produce and what you say. There are certain limits, but at the same time, you know, we're just looking to bring people out there, is what I've discovered this year, working off the different
Oh,
websites.
and
Didn't
Rosella
realize
did.
how much they really influence you with that threat of demonetization, and just sort
Oh,
of
it's bad.
toe the line, or say
It's
the line.
control.
Say
It's
it is.
control. It's control of finance, which controls speech, which controls thought, which controls society. So it's the slippery slope, as they say. There's been a lot of drops as far as updates coming to Rumble. Rosella says that in time for the holidays, I guess he's alluding to in the next month or two, by December 25th, or maybe Thanksgiving if we're using the plural of holidays in the United States. It looks like gifted subscriptions are coming, which is a big play towards Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking on that topic, and that's a big plus. And by the way, if you're watching from on any of the mini platforms we are streaming on, make sure to throw in the comments. Looks like a live search had a little comment. It says Twitch should go all in on gaming and push the original idea of Google Stadia with Amazon Luna. Push the original idea. Oh, the software as a service streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I kind of feel that technology is going to take care of itself over time. Stadia is dead, right? If I recall correctly, and Luna being owned by Amazon. I haven't checked it in a while, but I was wanting to be an early Stadia adopter myself, being an old Google guy myself, before I went all Apple again. In my ebb and flow of which platform will I use today. But what's interesting about the gifted subs ideas, what's interesting about moving and pushing towards really attracting Twitch streamers over YouTube content creators does push them into a different headspace. I think, and I don't think it's bad. It's just different. I think it's more difficult, honestly. So I don't think that what YouTube does is more difficult than what Twitch does. So if they can prove out better monetization and keep more people on the platform, I think that it's only going to lend itself to the communities. People already know that they can do, I guess what people like to call the Twitch streamers called the boomer political content. That's going to happen regardless. And I tend to like to lean more into podcast and interview and Joe Rogan style content. I'm a fan of conversation. And I believe we're going to see an absolute renaissance in that, which isn't going to be just this split screen thing. It's going to be a lot more dynamic if we have our way in this. Wouldn't you say, if we get the ability to bring producers into this and bring music into this and bring talent, and I think you're going to see much more of a variety show kind of thing happen with the internet moving forward. Because at the end of the day, the one thing AI can't take from us, I had just an amazing conversation about AI today with our buddy Doug. And the thing, my argument for him was, the thing that they can't take is the personality. There's no way AI is going to replace what you and I are going to flub 20 times in a day. And I think there's the human element in conversation that can't be faked. I mean, you know immediately. I don't care how good it is. That okay, you're not really from the police union, and you know what I mean. You got the robocalls, the good
Mhm.
ones, and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to hold a conversation with the robot, and no one's interested in listening to a conversation between a person and a robot. Now, will I like to bring in my GPT for some fun humor and facts? Hell yeah, but half the time we're going to be making fun of it.
Well, I think it's going to take the entire market to reset itself and its expectations to what an audience can build. Because if
Right.
cinema has proven one thing, you can no longer get thousands of people to go to a space unless you're talking about the arena of sports, the arena of spectacle, of music. But
Information is one thing.
yes,
Entertainment is another thing altogether.
yes, and so there are certain entertainments that you still can enjoy more by going to them, yet they
Yeah.
still exist in a digital streaming shareable format. And I think in general, all advertisers are going to eventually realize that from the largest audience to the smallest audience, it's still an audience. And
Right.
since we're in the attention for eyes, I think that's what's going to
In
come
an
down to
attention
is
economy. You're absolutely
yeah.
correct.
So recognizing that, a person with even a few hundred people checking in is still a few hundred people that sadly, until we figure out a better way to monetize our lives, are places to be advertised to or to be sold and influenced to. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think that, I mean, that's the biggest difference between what I considered Internet 2.0 and Internet 3.0 was Internet 2.0 was you were on this ocean of free space. There were no currents, there were no lifeguards, there were no buoys set up, there were no digital sharks to sit there and hunt you. There, I mean, it was a slightly different world, but it wasn't necessarily a big marketplace to sell you things and try to put the war on for your mind.
Right.
It
Right.
was just a
Right.
space that people went to sort of escape from what their regular life was, usually through. It was the first thing I think I remember you showing me on the internet was the cops version of Star Wars that went into how Luke Skywalker's aunt and uncle got into it with the troopers, and someone had made a short film,
Oh
and that's
yeah.
when I realized early on. I'm like, oh well, this is a place for me to make
They
shorts.
called it. I think they called it. Didn't they call it troops instead of
Trooper,
cops?
yeah, I think so.
I think it was called
And so,
troops.
but it was just
That's a
one of
great
those early internet
short
things, and
film.
then so many years later, I watched a short film with my kids about Super Mario Brothers, except they're in a futuristic paintball world shooting guns at each
That's
other,
still
and I
that's
mean,
still content. I still, and this is coming. I really hope to have this done within the next week or two, preferably by next week. By the next time we do this, Live Search says I missed the old 10x home automation marketing. X10. I remember X10. Yeah, that was before Alexa. When you actually had to program something.
mhm.
But man, I lost my train of thought there. It's not your fault, by the way. It's not Live Search's fault. But I was going to say that the Dig Nation model, I still think today about building community around conversation, about including community in conversation,
Mhm.
about, I mean, everything that we have seen that has gained traction, what has made the Joe Rogans of the world work, it's really going to come down to certain elements coming into play. And I see that happening if Rumble does what they say they're going to do with locals and fully integrate locals into Rumble. That's already been teased. One of the things that they teased also in their drops of screenshots of features to come down the road are the analytics. We saw the video that happened with Lumpy and Silver Fox and Chris Pavlovsky, and a lot of it was about how the marketing statistics are going to be a key player in shaping how people actually produce their content, and that really a lot of that is we're going to see a lot of that explode should that separation between locals and rumbles actually disappear. We're going to have a social media platform embedded in with our video platform that actually should exceed what we've seen in YouTube, even in the earliest days when I said, really that community and like the ability to have people respond in video conversations back and forth with each other. Locals can already beat that. So there's a lot of opportunities. There's been updates this week as well in EV Mux that we've gotten to play with. They released a new feature that allows you to grab a code. It'd be nice if we could customize it, but right now they have proven, for the most part, and I've been testing it all day today as well, actually, that you can grab a specific code for a customized scene that you've developed in a pro scene in EV Mux and share just this string of random characters, and it will load from your scene into their scene. So theming and sharing themes and sharing scene ideas is going to become a thing and become refined. So I'm really excited about that. My experiments with it have shown that it doesn't work perfectly yet. But I think there's serious opportunity there in kind of a theming community, and you're going to see us all kind of standing on each other's shoulders, and that's just in building scenes and building shows.
Speaking on themes, do you think my 7 talents cap is a little redundant to the theme? I think I got a little bit
there
too
is
many
an echo there,
on.
which it's
I'm
a good
starting
echo,
to wonder
though.
if I should just start rotating in some of the other.
I think it's better if I just throw you to the other side. I think that's there. It's balanced better. Now we both have one.
Sure.
Is that fair?
There you go. Sure.
Live.space got community feed part right, but missed on the business side. Live.space. I'm trying to remember Live.space. I think you mentioned this last week as well, Justin, and I'm going to have to look it up. But I didn't have an experience with that. You're going to have to pop in and explain that, and I would love to like discuss further kind of like what would we like to see? Well, let's do a roundtable with people who have had experience with prior platforms and talk about if it were up to us to build Rumble out, what would we like to see happen? That's got to be that's at least going to have some value for Rick and his team. They shut down before a relaunch. Well, that's probably why I didn't see him. He says. So yeah, there was some other things I noticed on EV Mux, and we're in it right now, Brian. If you even hover over, I don't want to share because I want to throw everybody into the entropy. But you hit your little 3 dots. I think background colors are now customizable per scene. You can do overrides, so they're really pushing some interesting changes. We have some meetings scheduled to talk with them in the next week, so hopefully we have a lot of updates for you from that. There are some things I would like to see them do with Rumble that we're going to see what we can do to help streamline things. There's things within Facebook that I'm still trying to see get streamlined. So we're definitely going to be doing a lot of squeaky wheel work with the EV Mux team. But
and if we didn't mention it in this episode, you probably mentioned it in a previous episode, so you might have to catch up. We've been covering a lot of what they've been doing over time. Like each update, they keep adding different things. You kind of take for granted some of the things they've already done.
But trying to report on that news like it's the weather here kind of makes it kind of drab. I think at some point we might be able to put like a 5-minute here's everything you've missed in the past week on the top of this, but just being topical and discussing the big things that are happening, the big things that have happened in the past week is part of the interest. The other part is going to be a piece of education. We're going to start coming up with educational points that we're going to put into this as well. So this really hopefully has more draw to build community. We see live stream update being for anyone working on any platform, whether it's EV Mux or StreamYard or YouTube or Twitch or Rumble. Even though we have our favorite picks, we're all doing the same thing. We're all at the end of the day trying to get a camera and an audio feed as clean as possible, pushed out to the platform of our choice, and build a community around the concepts and ideas that are valuable to you and valuable to your community. And at the end of the day, The reason we have the picks that we have is because we believe that that is something that you invest in and you should have control over. Someone shouldn't be able to take that audience away from you. So I think the world will learn in the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to be overnight. I think it's going to take at least a year, that the platforms that we're very enthusiastic about are not strictly political. They're not only on what I think their politics are the same politics of our nation that allow for free speech and allow you to have a voice without someone saying, well, I don't like what you're saying, and we're going to pull it off. For the same reason we allow people to have parades about things that we don't agree with. For the same reason, it always reminds me of that scene from the Blues Brothers, right, where the Nazis are marching.
Illinois Nazis.
Right, those Illinois Nazis.
Sure, they're allowed to march, but you're also allowed to drive your car through them. But then that happened in real life years ago, didn't it?
That latter part is not actually
it did actually happen, though, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a political show that we're going to do on a different channel. But Blues Brothers references are always welcome in this show. Always.
And definitely on the Church of Cinema when I finally get around to doing that movie. Blues Brothers, the greatest.
Will you do the director's cut for me? Or are you going to do the cinematic one when you do the Blues Brothers?
I have to sit down and rewatch it again. I probably would usually go with the director's cut. In most cases, I find that when I have to choose between what the director or what the studio paying them had to say about the movie, I'll typically lean on what the director had to say, just when it comes to my politics and the way I view cinema. So.
Yeah. I'm going to look in X here and see if there's any stories that I think we need to cover as well. I've kind of run out what has happened for us. I'm mainly trying to be prepared for what's going to happen in the next week or two. We're really getting ready to gear up for major news. I think by this time next week, we will know about Dr. Disrespect. We will know about Sneeko. We will know about Joe Rogan. Next week's show will be off the hook. This is kind of like the calm before the storm, in my opinion. Too much is literally happening right now that we don't know the outcome of. Anything on your radar that you've been thinking about?
No, I've just been going back to that, making content for myself and then being productive in the field. And so most of my week, the last 2 weeks, has just been immersing myself outdoors, enjoying the weather for what it is, and then trying to stay off of Reddit telling me that the weather is going to be the death of us all in the next 5 years if we don't figure out climate change. So
yeah,
I'm taking a bit of an internet social media detox. I posted episode 4 of the Church of Cinema, which was my take on the movie Up, and I've just been working on more videos. Yeah, I stand by my theory that it's a way of viewing the movie I don't think anyone has ever pointed out. But after I explain it, I don't think you can watch the movie again without seeing it that way.
I will put as soon as this wraps, I will put the link on our Rumble channel. Go to our Rumble channel, subscribe. Go find Brian's latest post on Church of Cinema, which is his review of Up, which I watched all the way through, and I had to get Kleenex. I broke character, man. I broke character.
Yep.
So it's a very your take is completely unique. It is a mind bender, and I don't want to spoil it, but I'm dealing with the issues that you're pointing out within my family, and it's hard to watch now.
You can't just sprinkle Disney magic on everything and make it something else. But yeah, no, that's been my world. Out in the sun or sitting at home working on these edits, and like you said, doing my version. You're our podcast master on our what we work on. You do the live stream. I do the edited, recorded content, and take pretty pictures. So we fill in our parts.
Well, let's throw some follow information out there for everybody who's checking this out. We do have an email address where you can send any information to us. Send us any questions you have. If you're interested in possibly coming on with us, drop us a line at info@seventalents.com. We are trying to build out our LinkedIn. We are at 111 followers currently as of today. That's at linkedin.com/company/7-talents. Go give us a follow there if you're a LinkedIn user. Obviously, if you're watching on Rumble, you know the URL. And if you're on YouTube and watching us, you know the URL. But there they are for you in case you need them. Give us likes and follows. And please repost this if you enjoyed it on X.
Just do it for the algorithm. At this point,
It is.
that's the very minimum you can do to continue to help content creators survive. If you can't go to their Patreon, if you can't buy their products, at least like and subscribe and maybe toss them a share. It helps more than you realize.
Oh, yeah. And as always, thank you so much for joining us. You don't have to do this every Friday at 7, but I promise next week will be crazy. Tomorrow we find out what happens.
Isn't Game 1 of the World Series on right now?
What?
I got to get out of here. Oh, my God. Hold on. Go Yankees.
Well, it was good to have you. Thanks, Brian, for joining me. Everyone else, thanks for joining us. We will be back soon. The weeks seem to just fly past. Look forward to seeing you again next Friday, 7 p.m. Make sure to join us and take care of yourself, take care of your family, and make some good content. God bless, guys.